Welcome to my room, welcome to my peacock chair, welcome to a little bit of coffee talk. I decided that it would be fun to do a Q&A here on my channel. I think I've been doing this for almost 6 months, making videos for you guys every week. If you've followed me for a long time, you know that I've had a fashion blog from the very beginning, crazy town. Like 2007, I started a fashion blog. And it's taken so many different forms, it's taken me so many different directions. I've done a lot of different things over those last almost 10 years. And after doing that for so long, I honestly was kind of ready for something new. And for some reason, YouTube really inspired me. I just love this idea of telling stories and having a conversation with you guys and creating a community here where I feel like we're hanging out. It's been about 6 months of doing this and I'm loving it. So thank you guys so much for being part of this with me. So to celebrate 6 months of doing this, I thought I'd do the Q&A. Anyways, so let's get started with your questions. Let me set my coffee down here. Thank you guys so much for sending in the questions. I love hearing your thoughts and just wanting to know what you guys want to know from me, that kind of stuff. Well, I got a question from Nellie O Designs on Instagram, and you asked, where do you take inspiration from and what is the funniest compliment you've ever received on the streets? Okay, take inspiration from. I think there's always, of course, the kind of in my soul inspiration, which if you've followed me for a long time, you know that has always been Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City. I feel like there's a few pivotal magic moments, as I like to call them, in my life when it comes to just style that just sparked this life in me, brought out this new sense in myself. And for me, one of those people and one of those inspirations, and will always be, is Carrie Bradshaw. Honestly, when I watched that show for the first time, I remember I think I was in high school and I started to watch that show and it was magic. Carrie Bradshaw, the character of Carrie Bradshaw, she just kind of did whatever she wanted, and she really did just play dress up every day. I know it's created with Patricia Field as well and Sarah Jessica Parker, but I loved that they mixed in vintage. And I think I've read, like, when they first started the show, there was no budget for costumes, so Patricia Field just went to a lot of thrift stores and vintage shops and found pieces there. And so when she started to dress Carrie in this quirky way that I'd never seen anyone do before, it ignited something in me. And I had always kind of been drawn to just unique style and kind of, in a way, character dressing. I love to kind of play dress up when I was a kid and then just throughout my life. And that just kind of took it over the edge for me. And I started to just get so inspired by how she just was outside the box, whatever. There was no trend. And honestly, if you watch that show, you can still be inspired, and that's what I love about it. So the other question was, what is the funniest compliment you've received on the streets? I don't know. I think sometimes people come up with descriptions of the character that I'm wearing. Grandma who likes to play golf in Palm Springs, or my brother has been known to come up with some interesting ones as well. But I think just when people kind of label and characterize my outfit, which I do kind of dress in character sometimes, so I like it. Thanks for those compliments. Taylor Blanton 1 says, when do you feel like you came into your personal style and how does your environment affect your style? So I think I definitely started to experiment with my style probably in middle school and high school. I lived on a small island in South Carolina, so I didn't have a ton of exposure to things. And of course, with the internet not around, I didn't have any exposure in that way. I really just had magazines, but I definitely would look at that stuff and be inspired. I was inspired by characters. I remember a huge character for me was the character of Kathleen Kelly in You've Got Mail, and she just had this really on point, quirky, kind of sophisticated New York style, and I remember kind of wanting to dress like her. I even cut my hair like her. But I'd say really it was in college when I moved to California that my style really kind of took on a life of its own. I was definitely inspired by some of the people that I went to college with. I saw girls really kind of creating looks that I had never seen before by going to a thrift store and kind of DIYing it before DIYing was a thing. And the character of Carrie Bradshaw, all that kind of stuff. It just opened my eyes to so much more. And when I moved to California, I think I also felt like I had a lot of resources available to me to explore my style. And how does your environment affect your style? It doesn't affect me a ton. I often dress outside of my environment, though I mean it totally does play a part. I mean, I'm a mom, I've got 2 boys, I can't wear like 5-inch platform heels like I used to wear. I think about, you know, where I'm going throughout the day and what would be functional, but I don't necessarily think what looks appropriate. I just do what I want to wear that day. So not a ton. Sarah Liz McLeod on Instagram asked, how did becoming a mom change your lifestyle and fashion choices? I don't think it affected it a ton, just because honestly for me, style is so much about a spark throughout my day and something that I honestly look forward to every single day, creating an outfit. And so for me, I still just do that, and it might not be as fancy or as like bloggery as it used to be when I would kind of be going up to LA for a bunch of different stuff, but it hasn't changed a ton. Honestly, it's probably the biggest change has been about wearing flats. That's been my biggest change. And I would also say all the little details that I used to be able to kind of put together don't come about. The completion of a look might not happen. Like I might not throw on all the extra accessories or something like that. And my nails, that's probably another thing. I used to always have my nails done, and that doesn't happen as much because I just honestly don't have the time. Thrift Archives asks, what was your style like in your 20s? It was kind of like now. I mean, I definitely come more into my own, but when I started blogging, which was in 2007, I was 27, 26, 27 years old. You could kind of go back actually if you wanted to and look at my Vintage Society was where it all began, and my style was a little bit different but pretty much still the same. I was still thrifting, I was still wearing vintage, I was still wearing like high-waist trousers and like fun little dresses and different hats. And I think in my 20s I would, if it was really different or if it was like vintage, I would for sure buy it and wear it. Whereas now I'm a little more thoughtful and really thinking about, does this really look good? Is it really flattering? You know, how to make this work now. But 20s was also when I was in college, and my style then went through some weird phases. Came into college with like a fun, I feel like a fun sense of style. Like I said, I was inspired by Got Mail and the character of Kathleen Kelly. I actually wore a lot of that look, like pleated skirts and kind of like high-waist trousers with like a t-shirt. I don't know. Then I also got into weird rut in college where I tried to kind of look like other people, which did not work, and I never felt great in it. So when I moved to California, which was also in my 20s and I was still in college, that was a big time for me of just really going for it and starting to thrift and starting to wear kooky things, which definitely there were some phases in there where I was like, ooh, what was I thinking? But it was part of my experience, part of my exploration. So Jess Coulter asked, how is your husband so open to your fun and quirky style? When he met me, one of our jokes is that he called me bug eyes because I had on huge round sunglasses. So pretty much from day one, I've been wearing quirky things, and I guess he just kind of fell in love with me as is. A girl North asked, do you have an outfit philosophy? Like when you're putting an outfit together, is there a consistent thing that you strive for when you're getting dressed? I'll usually start with one thing that I want to wear, and then I'll build a look around that, or one idea. So it might be about colors, or it might be about prints. Alex from AVE Styles asks, hi Alex, do you ever buy full price items from regular retailers? How much of your wardrobe is vintage and how much is mainstream? Do I buy full price items from regular retails? Honestly, not that much. Well, there's a few things I usually buy. Shoes, jeans, that's another place where I will spend a lot of money and buy something that fits me really well. Oh, and the other thing is I go to Crossroads so much, so I get those mainstream items without actually going to the regular store and buying them. So, and there's still the thrill of the hunt there, so I like that. And how much of your wardrobe is vintage and how much is mainstream? Probably 70% is vintage and 30% is mainstream. The next question comes from Kendra, and she's asking about a vintage dress that she found at a estate sale, and it has a mildew smell that she's having a hard time getting the smell out. Any tips on how to wash your thrift finds? Honestly, I'm a really bad person to answer this. The biggest tip I would just say is take it to the dry cleaner, see if they can do something with it and get the smell out. I do wash things, sometimes I ruin them, so I am really actually not the best person when it comes to this stuff. Sorry. Petals of Chiffon asked, what are tips and tricks to efficient thrifting? How do you find the pieces you're looking for? I would say efficient thrifting. So if I don't have a ton of time, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of an idea of what I'm looking for. I actually have a Pinterest board that I keep private that's just pinning things that I want to be looking for in a thrift store. So that kind of gives me some direction when I go in. Another way to be efficient is just, if you don't have a ton of time, pick one type of thing. So go in and just think, I'm just gonna look at dresses today. Honestly, you can try on a lot of things without going to the dressing room. So if it's a jacket, even if it's a dress, a skirt, whatever, you can pull those things on and just like pop in front of the mirror and see how it looks. Yeah, so those would probably be some of my tips on being efficient. And then how do you find the pieces you're looking for? I mean, probably one of the number one tips on how to find great stuff at a thrift store is that you just have to go thrifting a lot. You just have to go and go and go and go, and you'll find great stuff. But if you're just like going every 6 months or something like that, you probably won't find as much good stuff. Jazzy Jeff asked, how long have you been thrifting? I really started thrifting probably in college. So, I don't know, since I've been 18 and I'm 37. No, I'm 36. No, I'm 35. I'm turned 36 this year. Your dad likes my outfit asks, what is the one thing you've thrifted that you feel like was your best find? Forever ago, I thrifted a furry, amazing lamb's vest, which if you remember when Sienna Miller hit the scene and that boho chic like came rocking out, and it was like when MySpace and all that stuff had just started and everyone was getting on the internets. And she was wearing that look a lot, and I remember I found one in a thrift store and I was just like, whoa! Now you can find them everywhere, but that was really rare at the time, and that was probably one of my best finds, and I still have it. Miss Diaz, what got me into thrifting? That's a good question. I feel like California got me into thrifting. I knew it was out there, but where I grew up there was really no thrift stores, and I do kind of think they've popped up more recently, but they've always been around. But where I grew up there was none. I think we had one. So when I moved to California, like I said, there was a few girls in college who had an amazing sense of style, and they often would thrift, and I lived down the street from a Savers. Oh, it was like the best time, honestly. I lived down the street from Savers. It was like the awakening, the beginning of fashion for me, and I would go probably 3 or 4 times a week, and I would just hunt and find and experiment and wear weird stuff and wear bad stuff, and I don't know, but it was like magical, and I would just go and find things, and that's really where it all started, and then it's just grown from there. I'm Cute Love Me asks, when you go thrifting to large stores like Savers, how do you keep your focus? Do you ever get overwhelmed? And how long do you spend shopping in places like that? And how do you find amazing gems? I kind of answered some of these questions, but I will say when you go in a large store, often I won't look through the whole store. I'll go to just dresses, or I'll just go to pants or just accessories. But there are some great days where I have a lot of time and I really do just look at everything. And my favorite amount of time to spend in a large thrift store is 3 hours. I can spend 3 hours in Savers and I love it. Emma Victoria asked the question, how did you get into style and how did you find yourself in a stylist career? I think I kind of touched on how I found my style, but how I came into the stylist career, I think I don't have a traditional stylist career. I don't necessarily just do like editorial styling or personal styling. I've kind of done all of those things, and I really like it that way. I think my personal style is quirky, and that has kind of, because of my blog and because of all of that, people liked it and started hiring me for that reason. I also did explore a little bit of doing some personal styling, which I found for me was not the greatest fit, just because I do like to dress so much outside the box, so it's not always the best fit for somebody who just wants to explore their personal style with something a little bit more simple. Sometimes it was honestly about faking it till you make it. I just started styling things on my own. I had friends who were photographers, and we would just style a shoot and have fun with it. Sometimes I even shot it, so I just started to like explore it for myself, and then I started to kind of get hired for it, and because of my blog it allowed for opportunities. And I also have been on a lot of different sets, and so I've learned how other stylists work, and that was a really great experience. I've assisted stylists, so honestly it was just kind of playing with all the different parts, and I definitely don't have the traditional role as a stylist. I'm not being constantly hired out as a stylist. I do a lot of different things, and that's just one of the things I do. All right, next question is from Me Plus Minis, and her question is she'd love to hear an update on my fitness journey. Thank you. My fitness journey is going really well. I'm basically there at my goal, though I kind of have this little final goal that I'd like to get to. I worked out with my trainer for 6 months and it went awesome, and I pretty much got to my goal with him. Then after about 6 months, that was kind of what we budgeted for fitness. Now I am working out on my own. I got a membership at 24 Hour Fitness, actually going about 4 to 5 times a week, and just trying to make that work in my schedule to work out on my own. Crush Vintage asks, how did you remain stylish and wanting to participate in fashion during your fit and fabulous journey? That's a great question. I think it's kind of fun, actually. I mean, it's almost like a little bit of a game. Like, how can I kind of work with where I'm at and still express my style? I pretty much stick to things that I feel like are flattering for me during different phases of my fit and fabulous journey. I often go with a little bit more of a layered look. Definitely bohemian is always a great friend to me during those times of just like wearing flowy dresses and things like that. I love throwing on a kimono or a caftan or something that I love. I think that's a tip, is finding really great statement dresses during those times is great. So like I had a few caftans that I loved and I felt pretty in, and those always are flattering. Smiley Joe Forever asked, how do you plan your day, week? Do you have daily rituals which set you up lovingly and peacefully for the day ahead? I'm a big planner. I usually sit down at the beginning of a week, so usually Sunday night before the week really gets going, and I look at my whole week, write it all out, detail out things I need to get done. I wake up every morning before my kids at 6, and I have a little bit of quiet time for myself, so that really gets my day started well. And then, of course, coffee is part of the ritual. And first thing, once my kids are awake, I turn on music. So music is always playing. And then my afternoon lull, usually I go and pick up that Diet Coke with lemon. So those are some of my rituals. How do you find balance being a mom and having a healthy lifestyle and looking cute every day? Balancing it all is definitely hard. I do think it's kind of like where your passion lies and where you're really excited about. And for me, getting dressed is something that gives me life every single day. So I just find that time to get dressed, even if my kids are being crazy and even if we're going to Target and that's it. I just like to get dressed, and so I really put on an outfit no matter what. So that's just, it's a passion of mine. The healthy lifestyle part, honestly, starting to work out with a trainer was huge for me because it really set me up on this rhythm of working out, which I have done before, but not with 2 kids. And so to like figure out how to make it work with 2 kids, setting up that accountability and that rhythm with him really helped me. And then now that I'm on my own, I just love it still. And so I just find the time. Sometimes that's when my husband comes home from work. Sometimes that's really early in the morning before anybody gets up. And then I do have help 2 days a week. And before I get working, I usually go work out first. So Lana Cruz asks, are you a stay-at-home mom? Yes. Though I do have 2 days a week where my in-laws actually watch my kids, and those are my main days where I really get work done. And then if I'm traveling for work, or if I have a shoot come up or something where it's kind of like back-to-back days, we just make it work. I get a babysitter, my husband watches the kids, my in-laws watch the kids, we just kind of make it work. Lindsay on Snapchat asks, how do you find balance as a mom with, she's got a 4.5-year-old and a 9-month-old. Oh my gosh, girl, I feel ya. I'm in it. Balance. It's hard. Like I said, I do have people helping me with my kids, and that definitely plays a big part. But I honestly sometimes feel like I've got a lot of balls in the air and I'm just trying to make it all work. Usually that means that some stuff kind of goes by the wayside. So honestly, for me right now, that's my house, and I love my house and I love doing interior decorating, but I have like little kids that make it really gross a lot of times by their messes and their food and whatever, and so things are just kind of falling apart there, and I'm just letting them fall apart because there's other things that I want to put my energy into. I love my husband and I want to spend time with him, so we get babysitters. The working out thing, I just kind of make it fit where I can. No, I plan out my weeks. I try to kind of fit it all in where I can, but I also let some things go. I don't know, find those things that you really care about and invest in those, and then the things that are just like not that big of a deal or you're not stoked on, let those go. Wow, that was a lot of questions. That was a long video too. I hope you guys held with me. I really enjoyed doing it for you guys, and I love kind of having this back and forth rapport with you guys, so please keep sending them and I'll try to answer them in comments below. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me and listening to my whole Q&A. Cheers, and I'll see you next week. Bye! If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and leave your comments below, and please subscribe.